Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Daddy eats lots. Munch, munch, munch.
Hello and welcome to Daddy Eats Last, where we discuss the challenges of being a man in modern society, whatever the hell that even means. I'm Kane, and with Ryan at Cambridge, and Matthew hungover after a massive Oktoberfest party last night. I would say I've been flying solo, but I have a very important guest, my partner in crime. How are you going?
Yeah, very well. I saw the pics on social media of Matthew. Great costume.
Yeah, the old lederhosen, was it? A fake lederhosen he was in?
Yeah.
Seems like he had a good old time and a massive amount of beer. He was texting me at the equivalent in Queensland, because there's a time difference now. It's 6:30 this morning Queensland time. There's no rest when you have kids.
No rest.
I don't know how he deals with a hangover when he's got the kids, because conceivably he would have had to be driving them to Nippers, or is that on a Saturday?
No, was it this week they were missing it because they had something on? Maybe that was the something on.
Oktoberfest trumps.
I think that was right.
Yeah, we would have been over 0.05 anyway by the sounds of it. So it's been a while since you've been on the podcast Daddy Eats Last. How have you been? How's things?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I think last time I was on here it was when we found out that Kinder was off. Yes. It was 2 weeks into the lockdown, lockdown number 6 down here, which was meant to be 7 days, and it's been since the 5th of August or something like that.
Short, sharp lockdown.
And here we are on the 17th of October and we're still not done.
We're a lot more grey hairs into this, aren't we?
And I've had an operation, lost a organ, and here we are, recovered, and here we are.
Yeah, signed off.
Yes, I've passed the 6-week mark and pretty much, all signed off and, ready to enjoy a pain-free life.
Well, there is a big day coming up this week. It is your birthday, but also we get out of lockdown here later in the week. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
Firstly, and the birthday gift from Dan Oki, or Dictator Dan as some people call him, or just Dan Andrews because he's an elected official, so show a little bit of respect for him. He was up there today saying we're getting out of lockdown this Friday. We get to 70% fully vaccinated, double dose. We're both fully vaccinated now. I have been for a while. You being a slightly younger vintage than my good self, had to wait a bit. But we're getting out this week.
We are. So I did madly organise a small gathering of girlfriends for a picnic to celebrate my birthday and get together, because I think, I don't know how many strikes we're at for girls' dinner, but we've gone to a COVID-safe picnic in the open air.
I guess that's a safe way of approaching, because we are going from the best part of, we came slightly out of lockdown, then back into lockdown. So we've been in lockdown for the best part of a few months now.
Yeah.
When you take into account the lockdown before this lockdown.
And the one before that.
Yeah.
Which was the end of May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been doing the lockdown hokey pokey.
So what, June, July, August, September? It's I don't know. It's almost 5 months, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I remember the last time we sat down and had lunch at a cafe. That feels like forever ago. That was.
But we snuck one in. When was that? Wasn't that between a lockdown?
Yeah, only just.
Yeah.
But even that feels like forever ago. So to then go from that extreme of doing absolutely nothing, like 5Ks for us and 15Ks. Your parents are within our 5K, so you've been able to go on socially distanced walks with them. I've seen my parents once at once we got to 15Ks, there was a sliver of Melbourne which we could meet in, and we met beside the freeway at a random park in the rain. So it's kind of weird getting back out and mingling and arranging social events, which it seems like most of Melbourne have been frantically doing today.
Yeah, I know. One of my friends actually messaged me replying to my invite for this picnic, and it was a very funny response, and it really did make me giggle. What did she say? Lovely. I've forgotten how to socialise, but I'll be there. And I was like, that pretty much sums it up.
The ability to make small talk, just even, interact with another human being who hasn't been in your household. It's been a while.
It has. And it does come with a level of anxiety as well, because we still have, was it 1,800 cases today or 1,600 cases? So it's still out there as well. And we also got more freedoms than we were expecting, which was a bit of a shock. I actually was out with our son at the beach with a friend of his from kinder. So I didn't watch the press conference or anything. And, I didn't really get the whole vibe of, what Dan the man was saying. But, yeah, you were texting me, but I didn't really look at my phone. And the friend that I was there with, she was, I think, maybe getting updates from her husband as well. And she kind of mentioned a couple of things, and I'm like, whoa, 10 people in your house. Because the rumour was 5, which I thought might have included dependents or might have, and yeah, 10 people in your house. It's like, I know it almost feels like it's going from zero to 100, yeah.
It does. I guess on the back of what New South Wales has done in the last couple of weeks, there's obviously been some pressure down here in Victoria, given we're the most lockdown state / jurisdiction in the whole world, that we deserve, in inverted commas, to, have some level of freedom. It just seems that we have not quite mimicked what they're doing in New South Wales, but we've become, I guess, a lot more. We're going to become a lot more free. But I guess that's being driven by the vaccination rate being a lot higher now than that it has been. That said, they're still projecting the models they're projecting, and they've based 70% on 80% on moving these a bit more forward than they're expecting. They're expecting cases to peak at around sort of 3,500 cases a day in December. So the cases are still going to rise. It's just the hospitalisations and people getting really sick in ICU and dying are going to decrease significantly because of the vaccination rate. So the case numbers are still going to be big, but they shouldn't be the focus anymore.
And they should be the unvaccinated people.
Predominantly. You still have breakthrough infections where people have a double vaccinated or single vaccinated and still will get COVID. Most of the time, they'll be okay. Again, underlying conditions are a big one, and obesity is a big one, which is not mentioned, where if you're in that sort of weight range, that you're actually at a significantly higher risk of, getting really sick from COVID than if you are non-obese. And, after being in, how many days is it now? 264 plus days of lockdown in Victoria. We're all carrying a few extra pounds, I think.
Although a lot of people are out walking because it's the only thing you can do.
It's the only thing you can legally do.
And this is what you're saying is you actually reckon that case numbers might actually come down because, people are – what's your theory? That people will be able to go out they're legally able to, go to a cafe where it's probably more COVID safe than, an illegal gathering of 20 people in a household or something. So, I mean, obviously with the amount of spread of infection in Melbourne, I was going to say Victoria, but mainly Melbourne, there has to have been illegal gatherings, people going to work, more people going to on-site learning at schools and daycare and stuff than really are legal. Otherwise there just wouldn't be these numbers.
Yeah, it seems there must be a lot of obviously there's a significant amount of admitted workers out there, because a lot of the cases which have been pumping up when they were turning up on the exposure site list were in, your kinders, were in your ELCs, were in your childcares, were in schools. There's obviously a lot of permitted workers out there who, are still spreading it in their workplace or, in these sort of, I guess, illegal, in inverted commas, gatherings, which were clearly happening. And that's why I guess I always take the contrarian view on a lot of things, where I think the cases may actually come down on the basis that people will be able to catch up. I think going to 10 people in houses is pretty aggressive. Again, it could have kept it to people catching up with however many people outside they wanted to. Might have been a safer play, but hey, they've done the modelling and people have been banging on the doors for freedom. Let us out, we deserve it. So, yeah, giving the people what they want.
Yeah, it was interesting when I messaged probably 6 or 8 girlfriends today, and I think I kind of was playing around in my head like, oh, what do I do? Do I book, a restaurant? Do we go for drinks somewhere? Do I have people here to our house? Do we, do a picnic? What do we do? Like, it was just this moment of panic, and because I didn't think I'd be able to have, 6 girlfriends over for, lunch or something. And then you sort of pointed out to me, don't know whether I'd go down that track. Like, people are probably more comfortable going to a venue.
Or outside.
Or outside. Than coming to someone's house. It's more, COVID regulated and all the rest of it. I was like, oh, yeah, good point, And then I messaged one of my girlfriends, and she happened to be pregnant, and I said, thinking of, the Saturday or Sunday, and she's like, count me in if it's outdoors, but I don't feel safe being indoors at a restaurant or whatever, because I sort of said, I don't think I do either. Like, and she goes, it's not just me, I'm pregnant. I'm quite sort of, cautious and whatever. And I'm like, I don't think I feel comfortable either. Like, and we weren't expecting to be able to dine indoors. Admittedly, not many people can dine indoors, but it's still dining indoors. And only fully vaccinated people can go and all the rest of it. But, I think we were expecting outdoor dining.
In typical Melbourne, on Friday it's going to be raining. So the Melbourne weather's trolling Melbourne by saying, okay, you're allowed to go out and catch up now and mingle, but we're going to rain. And I actually went and got a coffee at our local cafe this morning, and I said to the lady who owns it, I said, you looking forward to opening, on the weekend or whatever? She goes, yeah, we should find out today. This was pre-announcement. And she goes, weather dependent. And she'd obviously looked at the weather forecast. I said, typical Melbourne fashion, just like when Dan announced that we could all picnic a few weeks ago, and it rained the whole weekend when he announced it. Yeah, it is typical of Melbourne. Now, you've been looking in the mirror a lot at your hair. Are you moving your hair appointment forward now that you can get it? There's a window of opportunity where they wouldn't have booked people in of probably 2 or 3 days.
Well, I just saw about 10 minutes ago on Instagram on their page saying, do not contact us.
We'll contact you.
We will contact you tomorrow and work through our wait list, and we will open on Friday, because I think they are expecting to open next Tuesday. So for them it would be Friday and Saturday trading. I don't know, they might even work Monday. I don't think they normally open Monday, but they might, just to get through people. So at the moment I think I'm booked in for the 11th of November, which is still a long way away, but I might get in earlier because they're opening a few days earlier. But anyway, it's going to be a lot of regrowth and a lot of grey hairs.
Well, I look like a bear at the moment. My hair's out of control, and I've got a beard of about a month. So, yeah, I think I don't know if I'll go to the hairdresser. I might just let everything just run free for a while. Now, one thing, maybe the last thing we'll talk about is kinder's going back.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Well, I know how you feel, but tell the listeners how you feel.
A little bit. Excited for him.
Yes.
Excited that we get just space and time. I think that's just sit at the kitchen bench and have a cup of coffee in peace and just take your time and just do all the stuff that I've just, been piling up, and just stuff that hasn't got done, and just time, just like to go for a walk and not have to be back at a particular time, other than obviously pick up time, but yeah,
we've never left our child at kinder. We're there when we're required to be there.
So yeah, just that freedom and time. But I guess I will miss him being around to a certain extent, but I think there's a happy medium. The happy medium is probably, somewhere in between. But yeah, a bit anxious as well. Like, I guess there's 80 kids across 4 kinder rooms, sort of in the one centre, and however many teachers on top of that. Yeah, there's a level of anxiety, but what do you do? Like, he can't stay home forever. None of the kids can stay home forever.
And he's really looking forward to seeing his friends again.
Yeah, so he was stoked to see his mate today, and he's sort of been asking, to see friends and stuff.
I think the last couple of weeks he's been a bit more, I want to see people. Like before that he was pretty happy on the whole. The last couple of weeks he seems to have got a little bit more, I don't say agitated is the right word. He's been a little bit more unsettled than he had been beforehand. Like he's wanting to see his friends. He's wanting to go back to, hang out with people who aren't maybe you and I, as much as I assume he loves us. But as much as he loves us, I think he just wants to hang out with kids where he can be a kid.
Yeah, and I don't blame him. So, yeah, he's really looking forward to it, and I'm sure he'll love it. And, yeah, I guess we've just got to all, be prepared for there could be a COVID. Someone could get COVID. He could get COVID. Someone in his class could get COVID. There'll be a lockdown of,
It's inevitable.
Yeah. So it is what it is, and we've just got to communicate that to him in due course. And we don't actually know what day he's going back yet. We don't know whether it is Friday, whether they'll go back for a day before the weekend, whether it'll be next Monday. It was meant to be Tuesday. We're waiting for that email tomorrow probably. So, yeah. How are you feeling about it?
About the same. I probably have less anxiety than you on the basis that, kids on the whole, they don't get seriously sick from it. It's like a cold, and that's how I guess I'd be explaining it to him. Like, because there's a lot of information out there, depending on where you get your information from, and depending on who you talk to, you think different things. Like, there's certain rabbit holes you can go down on social media where this is like a government conspiracy or it's really bad. Where realistically, for most people, especially vaccinated people, and especially for kids, it's just no worse than a cold. Often it's less than a cold. So it'd be more if he gets it, communicating to him at that point of time. But it's inevitable that, it's going to end up in the kinder at some point. It's just, the nature of opening up. But, they're mitigating things as best they can. And he's really looking forward to going back. He can't stay home forever. I'm kind of looking forward not to playing imaginary games all the time, because I'm usually the main villain in the game. So I think I was a bear today. I was a stormtrooper at another point. So the imaginary games are still running rampant. So I'm kind of looking forward to not having to do that so much. But yeah, there's a level of anxiety there, but it's maybe not as high as your sort of levels.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's what we talk about, those sort of things. So what are you getting for your birthday, do you know? Has the little fella given away what you're getting for your birthday? Does he even know? Or you already probably know.
I was thinking actually before, what am I getting for my birthday? Because the friend I caught up with today, she's like, have you put in your order for your birthday? And I went, yeah, I'm getting some jewellery from my mum and dad that I purchased and you clicked and collected because we weren't sure whether Australia Post would deliver in time. You're getting me a T-shirt that I chose, and then something else. A book, but it's not released until the end of the month.
I'm glad that I wrapped the right thing, because I just went through my head that I might have wrapped the wrong thing, hence why I was
And then today, little fella was like, I haven't done my writing practice today, because he's, learning to write letters and his name and all the rest, and this was in the bath. And I said, you can do it after you get out of the bath, just write your name or something. And then he said to you, I've got to write my name or something. And then you were like, you've already written it today. And there was mention of a card. And I'm like, okay, block your ears. And then he goes, I could tell you what's on it, and I just walked up the hallway because he has a habit of letting the cat out of the bag as to what was on the card or what he wrote or what he drew or something.
I'm just glad that I got out of decorating the cake this afternoon. I thought for sure that I have to decorate the cake, because we have a fairly new tradition where whoever's birthday it is can pick a cake out of the Woman's Weekly cake cookbook, the one from like when we were kids, and we've got a copy of it now. You've gone rogue. I don't think yours is actually in the you wanted a theme, which I don't actually think is in the book, but is close enough in the book we can action. We cooked the cake this morning, and the little fellow was like, can I have the cake? I'll decorate it. We managed to get through the day without him bringing up decorating it again. So
that's interesting, because that was how I lured him off the beach. Because
you lured him off the beach by saying you could decorate.
No, I said, have you got to decorate the cake for tomorrow? I said, oh, you might, I don't know. And he goes, oh, maybe. I said, oh, we better go home and check with Daddy. And then I didn't know whether there were lollies involved with, and I said, oh, you might get to taste test something.
So you solved your problem by causing one.
So I'm surprised that he didn't come in.
He did.
Oh, did he come in?
Yeah, when you're at the front, he comes running in and it's like, cake, this. I'm like,
so now you know why.
Yeah. So you solved your problem by causing me a problem. That is my birthday gift to you. And that is all for this week on Daddy Eats Last. Remember to subscribe to Daddy Eats Last on iTunes if you haven't done already. And while you're there, please leave a review. Also tell your mates about the podcast, especially if they are guys. Most of all, thanks for listening. We're back next week with another episode, or should I say serving, of Daddy Eats Last. How's that for a dad joke? Catch you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.